it's Reagan, and today I'm here to bring you a book review of Demigods and Monsters by Ray Wagner. And now I am working with Ray Wagner for this video. So this is the sequel to The Curse of the Sphinx, which I read back in February and I really enjoyed. It was our Bruce Tobia Book Club pick of the month back then. And before I even get into the whole nitty-gritty of how I felt about this book, I do want to let you guys know that you can actually get the first book, The Curse of the Sphinx, for free if you sign up for Ray Wagner's newsletter, which is just on our website. I'll leave and link all that information down below. So yeah. So obviously, I don't want to spoil anyone for this book because this is going to be a non-spoiler review, but I do want to give a synopsis of the first one just in case people have stumbled upon this and are like, oh, it's a second one? Oh no. So The Curse of the Sphinx follows our main character Hope, and for her entire life she's been on the run with her mother, but she hasn't really completely understood why. She lives in a world where kind of Greek mythology, demigods, gods exist and are understood, and like people, like normal people know of their existence as well. Though being a demigod is very rare. Some events happen at the beginning of the book that flip Hope's life upside down, and she kind of has to come to terms with some of her own personal struggles, as well as decide if she's ready to kind of set roots and make friends and let people into her life. I really enjoyed the first book. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, and moving into the review of this book, I actually thought this one was even better. Overall in this book, before I get into the specifics, is I thought this was a great continuation of the story. In fact, I found it to be even better than the first book. There was more action, there was more character growth, there was more characters in general that I just thought were really interesting. And I just really liked it. I thought it was angsty, but not overly angsty. It was just a very enjoyable read. The characters specifically in this story I find to be very great. Our main character Hope is one that I just appreciate as a character in general. She's strong, she's witty, I appreciate her thinking. I know that's an odd thing to say, but sometimes in YA, especially in second installments, our main character can get a little irrational, and I just never feel like Hope is being irrational. She is aware of her emotions, she acts like a normal person would in a lot of situations, and I just appreciate that Ray is honestly thinking about the psychology of her characters, and I just thought it to be great. Obviously we have our main character Athen. There is angst going into their relationship starting in this book, and it builds and it's drama and it's great to read through. It was highly entertaining, but we also have the introduction of 2 new characters that were still like kind of have murky pasts, if you will. We have Zan, I think that's how you say it, who's basically like a love triangle interest in this, and normally I'm not a huge fan of love triangles, but I actually appreciate how Hope approaches it in this novel. She's basically like, yo, I'm not interested in dating, and like she can't help if someone else has feelings for her, but I don't think in any way she's leading him on, so I appreciate that as well. And then we have Delia, who's just like a fantastic kick-ass female friend character who I just always appreciate having in a novel, and I just found the characters in this to be expanded and just really enjoyable in that way. Probably my favorite part of this installment was the fact that it had a school-ish setting, which I am just a sucker for. Anytime that there's like training sequences or class learning sequences, I am just a loser and I love to read about it. Honestly, one of the biggest strengths of this book, I have to say, is the combat writing. Ray Wagner is really good about writing action, and I think that definitely comes from her background in like fighting in general. She has a black belt, and you can definitely tell, like, it's very descriptive, and so you have a clear picture of what is going on, which I really appreciate. It's not just like vague, like, oh, and a flailing of limbs and someone landed on the ground. You know, it's very clear and it all makes sense, which as someone who has absolutely no fighting experience, I enjoyed reading about it. I thought it was really well done. And I just appreciated that element. Overall, the story definitely expanded on the plot to the first book. We get some of our questions answered, as well as the universe itself expands. We're actually introduced to some gods themselves in this, which I found to be really interesting. And just more of the demigod universe is explored, which I thought was really cool. I really like Ray Wagner's approach to the whole Greek myth perspective that she has. It's very different from a lot of things I've read in the past. Like, I honestly feel like this is like Percy Jackson meets a Jennifer L. Armentrout Lux series. You get the angst and the romance, but you get this awesome tie to Greek mythology, and it's just so much fun to read. Moving on into just the relationships in general, this book had angst, man, and it was so nice to read, but it wasn't irrational angst, which I feel like I need to note, because it's like, there's angst in any real relationship because things get complicated, and the complications themselves made sense. There was miscommunication, but there wasn't like ridiculousness that was just like making me constant eye roll or anything. It just made me want to keep reading, which I definitely did as I read this book literally in 2 sittings. I just really liked this. That being said, I ultimately really enjoyed this book. I found it to be better than the first one, and I ended up giving it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I can't wait for the next book in the series. I'm sure I'm gonna have to wait a bit though, as this literally just came out, but it was really good. Like, I just find this to be a really great YA paranormal Greek mythology series. It's entertaining as hell. Like, that's just the best way to describe it. Again, you can get the first book for free digitally if you sign up for her newsletter, and yeah, that's my review of Demigods and Monsters. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you soon with another video soon. Goodbye!